Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Thought I'd do a quick tip today on how to get rid of scratchiness in pots and switches. I've got this little Squier here and it's got the same issue that a lot of guitars have these days, which is that nice scratchiness in the switch. And it's got a little bit of scratchiness in each one of the volume and tone pots as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of disassembly on this guitar, try to get inside where I can get access to those, and we'll solve that. And this one actually happens to have a loose jack as well, so I can correct that while I'm at it. Now, if the switch is the only problem that you have, then you can usually get some contact cleaner down inside the switch without having to remove the entire pick guard. Now, if you want to get down inside that switch, you're going to need some contact cleaner with a straw on it and try to aim it right down in there and then work that back and forth. You can hear it getting better already. All right, well, that's certainly feeling better. Let's see. Yeah, all that scratchiness is gone, but this one has more problems than that, so I'm going to have to do some disassembly. Now, if you're like me and you don't want to burn a set of strings to fix this problem, you're going to have to follow a couple steps to get that done. The first step is going to be to detune the strings, at least a couple of steps, but really you want to try to remove as much tension as possible without making them sort of start to uncurl from the tuners. That amounts to making sure that there's plenty of slack in them, basically that they haven't popped out of the nut. All right, so at this point, there's a lot of slack in my strings. They're not to the point where they're coming off the tuning pegs or coming out of the nut. And I'm just gonna take a capo and put it on the first fret. That's just gonna keep everything tight up against the nut and keep everything from coming off of my headstock. Then I can flip the guitar over and remove the neck. I'm gonna use a shortcut with an electric drill, but you might wanna use a hand driver. Now we're gonna remove this pick guard. So cleaning these pots is not much different than cleaning the switch. You want to spray some cleaner in there and then go ahead and rotate your knobs multiple times in both directions, all the way back and forth, trying to go ahead and clean up the wiper that's inside there. And I'm going to use the CRC cleaner, although I do normally recommend the deoxit. I just don't happen to have any. Now I'm giving a little bit of time for that contact cleaner to dry before I reassemble this, but there are some spots now on the finish of the guitar from where the oils in that cleaner have dried. So I'm just going to give it a quick wipe down with some Windex and a paper towel. I don't recommend Windex on a lacquer finish, but it does work well on a poly finish guitar. Okay, and now I'm just going to go ahead and reassemble this with some new screws. And by the way, if you need to clean up along your bridge, under your pickups, right next to your pickups, that sort of thing, there's never an easier time to get to this stuff than when your strings are out of the way. Now we're just going to undo what we did with the neck. So we're going to put that back in place. Make sure your strings are lined up when you do this. So at this point you can remove that capo. Now if you're like me and you remove the neck so that you could save a set of strings, you're going to have to do one more step after this, which is a full setup on the guitar, just to check and make sure the action's right, that you don't have any buzzing strings, things like that. It's a lot safer to just remove the strings than to remove the neck, because you could have a shim in that neck pocket that you'll have to keep track of. The neck angle could change just slightly. Things could rotate in the pocket. Your string alignment could be off. You do kind of need to know what you're doing before you do that. The easiest thing, safest thing, is just to remove the strings and put a new set on. You can also try to reuse a set of strings. That can be problematic. But anyway, like I said, easiest thing, change your strings. Then you can do all this stuff with the neck in place and you don't have to worry about it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing tuned up. We can at least test the volume and tone pot, and then I'll check the setup later. Okay, close enough on the tuning. Let's check out the pots. Alright, everything sounds really good. I have one more thing to fix, and that's this loose jack. Whenever I have a problem with a loose jack like this, I always like to check and make sure that there is either a nut or a lock washer on the back side. This one does have a nut. I just need to get a socket that's going to fit that opening. Alright, looks like an 11mm is going to do the job here. Okay, I've got that tightened down, and now we just need to put the screws back in it and get it back together. Alright, well the jack's nice and tight now. Everything's all back to functional. I just need to check my setup. I'll do that off camera, but thanks a lot for hanging out, you guys. I appreciate when you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.